All right, let's draw for turn. We're here to bring you commander insight and hot tech to level up your game. Each episode focuses on a different topic with our four-person pod to give you all our spicy take. It's been 2 weeks. Things are a little different tonight. What's everyone been up to? Any memorable games going on?
Yes, I can tell you all about it. I had to do an entire pod as Barney the Dinosaur because I lost to Sean in a game of baseball. And that was on stream Friday night. I won the pod at least, so at least it wasn't all for naught.
You won the pod and you won our hearts.
It was really difficult not to laugh while doing that voice, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I do believe we came to an agreement that would end up on Twitch, or sorry, on YouTube. On YouTube,
all right,
so.
Great. All right, great.
That will be up eventually. I think right now we're doing like what, 2 videos a week?
2 videos a week.
Yeah. Minimum.
Yeah, 2 minimum a week, 7 in the queue, amongst a multitude of like other things. So
yeah, there's 7 in Sean's queue, 3 in mine to do, and like now that I'm like all settled and like have my life back together, I'm finally doing the Valky deck tech.
You said you have your life together? Can you teach me how?
No.
Yeah,
I honestly can't.
I want to say this deck that I built actually probably will replace me building the Valky deck, because it actually does what that deck was supposed to do, but like way more fun and funny.
I mean, why don't you tell people what the deck is if they didn't watch my stream the other night?
So a preview of it is we played on your stream, we played on Astral's stream.
Yes.
So the deck is Breaches, Blazing Plunder, and Malcolm something Lookout. I don't remember his other title. Malcolm Keen Navigator. It's a pirate deck that only contains 3 pirates. So how the deck works is it uses a lot of effects to change creature type on pingers that hit multiple players, and you with the 2 commanders out, like a ping turns into 3 treasures plus 3 potential draws and spells you can cast from your opponent's decks.
I remember you getting my Cabal coffers and having triple the mana you were supposed to.
Yeah, I can play your lands. I can cast your creatures. I can cast your spells on my turn at least. Once that's over, well, I mean, I can do it off turn too. It's just the card pool changes every time. That's only what I reveal from breaches trigger.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, like, Monkey Pirate Goblin is your commander, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, but there's like, I think I counted up. There's like 4 pirates in the actual deck, and the rest of the cards are not. So, despite being a pirate tribal pair, there are no pirates in the deck. But the thing that makes it work is because Breaches and Malcolm don't care about what kind of damage a pirate deals. They only care that damage was dealt. So that means pingers turn into Breaches and Malcolm triggers. So you get to play with your opponent's decks like a real pirate.
To the moon.
To the moon. And then you get to play with real as a real pirate using fake pirates basically. But that was the highlight of my week. Having to voice act on stream for an entire hour-and-a-half game. EK's been doing a lot more you've been doing some more high-powered pod streaming.
Yeah, I mean that's where I like to play though. Like I like that like 8.5 like CEDH light kind of game. So that's what I've been streaming. But like our games have been insanely good. Like consistently, just always a good game for whatever reason. I don't know how we do it because we just we're just throwing games together randomly, but they always end up being really really fun.
The consistency of our community, I go to say, like we have a lot of very skillful players who know what they're looking to do and get out of the game.
Yeah,
I think there's something to be said for playing at a higher power level as well. It's kind of like playing more, I don't know, air quotes meta. Like you know what to expect. people are doing things that you think they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it has been the people that I've been playing with on stream. Like, we just going into it, I just said there's no feel bads. We're just hanging out. There happens to be a game going on in the background. Whatever happens. At the end of the day, we're all friends, and if something happens, let's talk about it. Make the next experience that much better. Like, there's just dare I say, because of the conversations that I've had with a lot of different people the last couple weeks, we've just been asking the right questions.
Awesome.
Swazi opened 2 packs before the stream, and that was, I think, the extent of your well, no, you played Magic with us too.
No, we actually
Kes finally did so. Kes finally did something.
I had the best read on him playing Cast 2. Oh my god, that game was great.
Yeah, it was awesome to finally, for first time in 11 months was it? We actually got to play a pod, the 4 of us.
Yes.
Played a couple games. It was
longer.
Cool. I lost the first game despite having a lot of fun. I did literally nothing with Kes because I wasn't really sure how Wheel of Misfortune worked and ended up just literally discarding all the cards I needed and drew 6 lands. So, I don't know why I thought it would get better, but it actually could not have gotten worse. Literally, statistically, 0% chance I could have drawn worse cards.
Dare I say that was misfortunate?
Oh, God. But game 2, Sean let me tutor because
for some reason,
which did give me infinite storm count. EK did kill my cast, so I could not recast my Tendrils of Agony. However, I did
if you didn't tutor for what you had tutored for, you would have been dead in your tracks. You still would have gone off and won if Cass lived. But I was on the read. Sean just gave him a tutor. He's gonna go grab the card he needs to go win. I should probably deal with Cass to at least remove 1 out. And it turns out we literally needed to, and it was great.
It did take me literally 1 less spell to kill you because you killed Cass. I did top deck the Grape Shot. So
it counts.
Yeah, we put you on a top deck and you hit it. But sometimes that's just how Magic goes.
On you to win the game, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just how Magic goes. I was on a read and I followed through.
Yeah, I mean, you took the correct read. I mean, I'll say, I gave him the tutor because I wanted to see his deck do the thing. I'm a nice player sometimes.
No, and I appreciate that because
really
a storm player has to live the inauthentic experience every once in a while by actually not fizzling.
True.
I wish you played Modern.
What's that song? I get by with a little help from my friends.
Corey keeps trying to get me to play any other constructed format. Corey Ballmeister keeps literally trying to get me to play any other format. He's like, you're a brewer. You probably, and you're good at making reads and reading hands. You do pretty well playing any constructed format.
The real other brewers format, probably just Canadian Highlander. Throwing it out there. Probably the best for brewing.
PDH when it takes off.
Oh man, I still. That's a dream I wanted to be real, but it's over.
No, I mean I'd end up playing humans in Modern and calling it a day.
That's not that I don't think Modern's really a brewer's paradise, but maybe I'm missing something.
No, but it's a hand reader's paradise.
Yeah, I mean, speaking as a Modern player, hand reading is the best skill you can have in that format to really know what's going on. And it does open up brews to play, but when you're on a hand reading and you know what's going on, the world is your oyster at that point to get in what you need to know. Hand information is everything.
I pride myself on being a hand reading player first and foremost. So
you just need to play some Legacy.
Yeah, there we go.
You only get a couple turns to read it. Don't worry.
I mean, I've already told you I'm only ever going to play Sneak and Show only because of that Brad Nelson BBD game from 10 years ago.
And you need to know exactly what's in your opponent's hand to play that deck, so it's perfect for you.
Yes. Well, I mean, good thing that there's like Gitaxian probe effects galore in that deck anyway, so that makes it easy.
Namely, 4 Gitaxian probes.
Yes,
Amazing.
exactly. Exactly.
Love that card.
Right. I guess, Sean, we can wrap us up with what you've been up to in your week of Magic.
Yeah, I mean, we jammed some games. We had MTG Girl coming to hang out. She's been super thankful. She got her care package from us, which was awesome.
What did we get her? What? Corporate gifting. What did we end up getting her?
She now owns a Muxus.
Yeah.
Oh, we got her among the Muxus she wanted finally.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That was a good gift.
Yeah.
She opened it like live on TikTok too. So
yeah, but now we have to build a Dimir deck that's not Dimir.
Yep.
Isn't Yuriko?
Scarab God. I mean, Scarab God.
That's the Dimir deck. Sorry.
We're working on it. That's a Friday thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, aside from that, it's been pretty chill. We played some games, like everyone said. I helped Swazi get his piece, and I'm just enjoying vacationary now, and I'm ready to talk some aggro. I'm ready to get into this hot topic at aggro, because I don't know, like this whole week's just been interesting takes on Magic. Like I went and opened Pandora's box on TikTok about how land destruction may make white viable in Commander, and I'm still getting comments to this.
I do believe, and based on the response of your TikTok alone, I think that should be our next episode.
Honestly, I'll share the feedback with you guys. I'd be 100%. It'll be the topic after the next topic.
Well, before we get into this week's topic, let's resolve this one quick news item on the stack, and I'm sure everybody knows. Next week, I believe, is the official release of Time Spiral Remastered, a pretty sweet draft set that also has a lot of Commander implications. Real quick, let's go on everyone's favorite old frame card. Sean.
Dotsies. Hands down. That's it.
EK.
Next question.
Kiki. It's gonna be so unaffordable, but Kiki.
You took mine, but Swazi. Favorite old frame.
So many. I'm gonna go with Remand.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say for Steven, is D all of the above an option?
They basically reprinted every card I couldn't get in an old frame for my Storm deck outside of Grape Shot. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna spend so much money.
I think the coolest. It's like not really a Commander card, but I guess it could be. True Name Nemesis looks really cool in an old border.
Oh, it looks so good. That is like low key some really good art. Like, if you I stared at that art for some reason 2 days ago for like 30 minutes. There's a lot going on.
I'll put it this way: it's pointed in Canlander, so at least it's not banned in Modern. I don't think, right? Oh no, it is banned in Modern.
It is banned in Modern.
It is in Legacy though.
Protection from your opponent.
Well, because it's banned in Modern only because it came out in a supplemental product originally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it does feel like a Modern card though. All right. How about favorite? I don't know if are there enough commanders to like choose a favorite commander from this set.
I mean, they're all. I mean, it's not like any of them are new.
Yeah.
All right, because mine would probably be like Grenzo Dungeon Warden. He looks pretty funny as a old border commander. You know, Slimefoot looks pretty. Him and Slimefoot were probably tied for my two favorites.
I'm honestly really unprepared for this question. I'm just gonna go with Baral.
It's a good one.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna continue to say Kiki because Kiki.
Yeah, but you could have said Feather.
But like,
oh my God, that's right. Feather is in there, and it looks so good.
I don't know.
You don't like the mustard gold border?
So just, and this is me speaking strictly as a professional, like, you know, someone who went to school for design and everything like that. I'm glad that the frame changed. Like all of those different frames, I am glad that they changed because they are, for the most part, so much less busy. They're so much more legible. They could be more legible, but compared to where they were 20 years ago, I think just in terms of accessibility for, you know, people with like astigmatism or dyslexia and stuff like that, the cards are just easier to read.
I had somebody have this conversation with me the other day. I think the old cards, same thing with their flavor text too, having Shakespeare and things like that in flavor text. Old cards were definitely pieces of art. They weren't meant to be read like cards. Now they are very legible playing cards.
Yeah.
I think that's a very big positive for the game. But
back then they had no idea that the game would be as big as it is, so they went
Definitely.
for making everything look cool and be visual first.
Yep.
And
Good,
I don't want to go off on a tangent. We can talk about it on talk about it on Discord. How about that?
Yeah.
Join the Discord.
Sean,
We can talk
Sean,
about
favorite
this.
Commander, favorite new old border commander.
To be honest, I really don't have a favorite.
Arcades, I guess. I don't know.
Arcade's there. I'm a fan of the set. I'm ready to get on the topic.
I think it's a pretty sweet draft set, so I wish we could draft. But maybe you can buy a box and hold it over until we can be with your friends again.
Someone out there is going to hold the restraint.
they have this theme. It was like Mystery Boosters, Jumpstart, Time Spiral Remastered. They're giving me all these draft sets I can't draft. They're killing me.
All right. Well, and then other news on this deck today. Today I learned Giant Ox can crew the Parhelion by himself. Now moving on to our main topic: how to deal with aggro and commander, or starring EK.
I will preface this. We're going to talk about more than how to deal with commander. We're going to talk about everything related to aggro. Well, enough to consider it. Let's just call it a primo, like a primer. Sorry, primer for aggro and commander.
We can call it a primo on aggro. I like that.
Sorry, like a prime, like one of those Prima strategy guides from like 18 years ago. Let's go with that. All right, Mr. Goblins turning sideways as a child. Can you tell the fine people what aggro is? How would you describe aggro?
I don't know if I have a distinct definition, but per the name aggro, it is short for aggressive or aggressor. You are the one who is on the front foot. You are the one leading the charge. You're all about ending the game as quickly as possible.
Or, I mean, I would caveat that in at least saying I'm going to attempt to do everything in my power to dictate the pace of the game.
Yes, definitely. You're trying to be the pace car of the game. People should be trying to slow you down.
However, we'll get into it later. It's not necessarily in your best interest strategically to slow them down.
That is also true.
And that's a commander thing. That's not a 1v1 thing, because if you're in 1v1, obviously you want to slow them down as much as possible. But
I do, and I'll comment on this a little bit later too as we talk about it more, but people typically associate aggro with creatures, turning creatures sideways, being, aggressive that way. You don't always have to have creatures to be the aggressive one playing the game. So
like your storm deck can be very, like your storm deck, your combo deck can be very aggressive. You are aggressively searching for your pieces. You can kind of like hybridize the archetypes of commander together. Like you're an aggressive combo. I'm trying to combo off as fast as possible. Things like that.
It sort of leaves like aggro is an open-ended definition, right? Like everyone's always going to relate it to creature, but really, aggro is the amount of turn really when you're trying to get your strategy rolling and the game done. If you're aggro, you're fast. Doesn't matter if it's fast creatures or fast spells or like.
And I think in the context of like CEDH, everything is fast, right?
Yeah.
So when we're thinking like more casual, like mid, high power, like save CDH, most people are still going to think of aggro as your creature decks, like your Boros, your Mardu, your Naya, stuff like that.
And I don't think that's wrong.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you say there's also like this tempo aspect of like aggro, like you're dictating the pace of the game as well?
Exactly.
I love that word and hate that word because people also make tempo. I put air quotes for those listening. Tempo is an archetype to a lot of people, and tempo is just the pace at which you play the game. Like aggro, control, mid range. Those are tempos to me. Tempo could just be the way somebody thinks their deck acts. and it's the way you use the word.
My favorite hot take about tempo, and this is I believe this is a BBDism. Nobody actually knows what tempo means, and so many people use the word tempo wrong, quote unquote. But when you ask them to describe tempo, nobody can actually describe what tempo is.
Yep.
Like you said, the simplest definition is just pace.
Yeah, tempo is less like a style and more just like
an adjective more than anything, in my opinion.
Yeah. If your deck is going out at a pace, it has a tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
You you have a fast tempo, you have a slow tempo. Like a grindy value deck it's going to be tempo, but it's going to be slow.
Yep.
So thinking aggro, we're thinking faster. We're trying to make things happen. We're trying to move the game along. A lot of people give aggro a bad reputation because in a quote-unquote normal game of Magic, it's 1v1 and we both have 20 life. I'm trying to end that game as fast as possible. So when you triple the amount of opponents and double their life total, instead of going through 20 life, I have to go through 120.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it seriously is. So when
it's a better case than mill, frankly.
Yeah. 100%. And
otherwise you have to go through 300 life.
Yeah. Well, 99 times 3. So that's what, 297?
Well, subtract opening 7. So it's 99 to 98 minus 7.
Yeah.
And then take off the first draw.
Semantics.
Yeah.
256, I think.
Something like that.
When people talk about aggro in Commander, I always immediately go to what good friend of the program, Commander Replay, aka PJ, says. Aggro in Commander is glorified mid-range. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but you can't play like a true aggro deck like you would play in a 60 card format.
You mean play fast, efficient creatures that get power for doing nothing, and then
where your curve is like straight up topping at 2 or 3. It's not averaging out there. It is topping there, like RDW in Standard or any other format.
Use Burn in Modern as an example. Like Goblin Guide used to be the best creature in Modern, and it's not playable in Commander.
Yeah, or Tarmogoyf is pretty much not Commander playable, but is a good aggressive card in every other format available, or like even Monastery Swiftsphere, which is like a red staple in, not in Pioneer and Modern, and even in Legacy too, like not really seen in the format because of just like it's just not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna pose this question to you guys, just off the cuff. If you guys had to name the most aggressive creature that you could think of in Commander, what would it be?
Sarah Ascendant. 100%.
Yeah, I kind of have to go along that same kind of line.
Wow, that really puts me on the spot. I really don't even have an answer. I can't.
Yeah.
Like that definition, like we're discussing right now, is so difficult to put on a single creature for a Commander game.
But like in every other format, you have a clear definition.
Like for example, I have a fairly powerful and optimized Kranko deck. I can't pick which one of my goblins is the aggressive goblin, but they're all super aggressive together.
Yeah,
it's almost like you need like a team to do it.
Yeah, the sum is greater than the parts, and that's how I look at aggro in Commander. To be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just thinking in the lines of singularly most.
Yeah, that was me. That was me putting you guys on the spot, and I would agree. It's Sarah Ascendant, no question.
I think your answer is probably the best answer we're gonna get. I just don't have an answer at all.
Let's
play Death Shadow.
It's like an honorable mention for like Occam Adversary because like he just wants to turn sideways all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's a 1-mana 2/2 Death Toucher. Sarah Ascendant is a 1-mana 6/6 lifelink
2/3 with Death Toucher that draws a card.
Yeah, Sarah Ascendant is a 1-mana 6/6 lifelink flyer.
Yeah, everything an aggressive start wants, basically.
Yeah, I mean, save for just ramping a ton, it's probably the most aggressive play that you can make in Commander on turn 1. But my point is, aggro gets a bad reputation. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's a bunch of different ways to play aggro, like Steven was alluding to. Goblins, like Krenko is honestly probably the most aggressive commander that I can think of, to the point where it warps every game that you play against a Krenko deck.
Well, you just know every game against like Krenko will be fat. It will be pretty quick.
Unless you have to actively mulligan properly to play against Krenko. And I made that mistake the other night when we played against it. I made the mistake.
Yeah, you just need something to get Krenko off the board, else they just like they just get exponential value basically.
Either
exponents are key.
You have to get rid of the Krenko, or you have to get rid of everything entirely. Like, I think it's up. If you know that there's someone trying to play aggressively in your aggro pod, you have to mulligan for a board wipe.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I've only played 3. Sorry, I'll get you a shot in a second. I've only played 3 games with Krenko. One won't count. That Master of Cruelties game was ridiculous. But
yeah, that's an anomaly.
I've never untapped with my Krenko and lost. So like you have to have a way to kill him.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think that's like a common thing. It's happening a lot in Commander anyway. There's too many things that must die on the spot.
Yeah. Well, and
not too many, but a lot more than normal.
Yeah.
I think that's amplified for the whole point of this topic. That is amplified for an aggro deck.
Yes, 100%. And I think that if we're gonna segue into how do I actually deal with an aggro deck? We've defined an aggro deck. How do we deal with it? Run more removal.
That's the easy answer, but there's other things you can do.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, like, just kind of touching on the subject of aggro deck too. Like, it's not just figuring out the way to deal with it, but it's figuring out the ways to deal with the different types of it too. Krenko is a prime example of a go wide tokens based deck, but like, let's take a look at the new elf commando, Lathril. Like,
oh yeah, she goes tall, right?
Yeah, she goes wide and tall. Combat damage she deals is the number of tokens you make with her. Like, that is elf version of Krenko. Elves can go wider now. Not to say that they couldn't go wide before, but like, you have a combat damage based effect to put in more tokens and develop an extremely wide board. I think in one of the last games, I had my first attack on her. I got 9 1/1 tokens.
How early was it?
That was turn 6.
You were straight up playing the pre-con, right? Like, no changes?
5 card changes, very minor.
Yeah. For a casual game, that's like pretty significant for turn 6.
Yeah.
You think like the go wide thing is like the stereotypical like everyone thinks this is what aggro looks like kind of thing in Commander? I think that it might be the case, but there are like go tall examples like Xenagos decks. Like Xenagos decks want to go tall.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just like slap a big creature on the board. Let's see with some form of evasion. Let's see what you got, kind of thing.
And
where do you put like Voltron strategies? Do you consider that more of a combo based deck, or do you consider that aggro? I mean, you're gonna turn this big.
I would call it board based combo.
Yeah.
Okay. It's its own brand of combo. It's aggressive because Voltron is trying to alpha strike someone out of the game.
Yeah.
Like turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, they're trying to make it a 3-person game if they can.
Well, the easiest way to win a game aggressively is cut everybody's life in half immediately. So
you're saying like a Heartless Hit Asuga deck?
No, what I mean is like a Voltron deck looks to cut everyone's life in half, or an Infect deck even looks to go further than that.
I mean, I would say that Infect is the like most aggressive that you could be, because you functionally make someone's life total 10.
Yeah, and you don't really even have to do combat to take them out, frankly.
Yeah, I mean Infect.
You have to do it at some point.
Yeah, Infect's one of those things, like, it's a whole can of worms, because like, in those like unwritten rules of like Commander, like the social contract, there are a lot of people who would put Infect in the like, no kind of list of things you should not do in Commander.
Because I think it's just because like when you think of infect decks, you think of like these like little low to the ground evasive creatures like Blighted Agent, for example. Like that's like a very hard to deal with early. It comes down early Infector, or what's that? Modern players help me out. There's a one mana. There's a one green creature for.
Oh, Glistener Elf, I think.
Glistener
Yeah.
Elf. Like,
There's a black equivalent of it too.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like when a Glistener Elf comes down, everyone at the table is like put on high alert basically.
Yeah.
Like if someone goes turn 1/4 is a Glistener Elf, like everyone's on high. Basically, everyone's on high alert, and they're looking right at the person who played that card.
Someone could die the next turn. They should be on high alert.
What I'm gonna say, and this is why, like, I mean, you guys know me. I'm the biggest advocate for aggro being a very healthy thing for the format. And Sean, I think I sent you that TikTok earlier. Someone memeing on game nights, and it's basically like every game nights ever, and it's just this person dubbing over Josh Lee Kwai, and it's just like the value. What?
That's me, dude. That's me.
I'm gonna draw my deck. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know. The value. I'm just gonna get all of the value. You need aggressive people at your table to keep the value decks in check. If there's no one playing aggressively, then everyone's gonna draw their deck and everyone's gonna go infinite, and like there's gonna be 15-minute turns for everybody.
It's just gonna be bad times. Like,
yeah.
That's like if there is aggro is, I don't want to call it a necessary evil, because that's not a right way to frame it.
Because it is.
Really.
It's not an evil. It's a healthy way to approach the format, and I think that's what we're trying to get at. Deep down.
Not really infect, but that's my opinion.
Infect is just a brand of aggro.
No, I understand, but it's like the least healthy of those brands.
Well,
you
want to know why I think it's the most unhealthy brand of aggro? It literally kills one person and then fizzles. Infect decks rarely actually win a whole pod.
I mean, I've definitely been on this short end where like Atraxa Infect just like got everybody, mostly because the Infect player was smart and they decided to, instead of just like latching onto one person, like
they do like, one, and then play a control game after that.
Yeah,
and then just proliferate 9 times.
Yeah, well, Chromium's an Aura's base commander.
Yeah, you're Voltron. You are using Infect as an easy way to turn someone's life total into 10.
Well, because you had double strike in white, and that sometimes wasn't enough. You needed to give him Infect too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's harder than people think to Voltron someone for 21. Okay, so what if I Voltron someone for 10?
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference.
So you have all these options to Commander, especially his color identity. Can every color identity play aggro?
Technically, yes.
I would say I would say most of them can. Like when you get into the I will exclude like the 4 and 5 color ones for now. Just like because like 4 color is weird. Like some of them can, some of them can't.
I mean, it's a state of mind more than anything. It's a mentality. Because, like, I can build mono... Because you can have, like, aggressive combo, you can have... you can play board-based aggro, which is, again, most people think of aggro as board-based. But, like, I can just, Mystical Tutor, and there's the Sorcery Tutor as well. I can just go find exactly what I need for my... Yeah, that's what it is.
Or Idyllic Tutor for an enchant.
Whatever colors you're in, you just tutor for your win con aggressively and win. I would in terms of timetable, that's aggressive. You're going exactly for what you need and nothing more.
You could for sure name let's think of colors that typically are not aggressive, known to be
Blue.
Aggressors that can get aggressive. No, I actually was thinking more along the lines of Orzhov. So, Orzhov, not really known for being aggressive, but you could play Ariel, Knight of Windgrace, and you can have a pretty good aggressive Knight's Tribal deck.
Wait.
Heliod.
That could be aggressive.
Heliod.
Heliod
can make it aggressive. There is an effective way to make a white life gain aggro strategy that can hit the table hard and continually buff up your creatures. It has a very effective curve, good tempo, and holds strong, and you're running good support.
Yeah, they're resilient to board wipes. I think that gets more into how to play aggressively.
Yeah.
But point being,
Diverse a little.
And then like Azorius wouldn't really always be known as
Bruna.
an aggressive deck. But wow, you can say Bruna. I was thinking like Ineaz, the guy that cares about flyers.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah.
Pretty good. It's a pretty good one. I'm just saying, like I would say, most color, like once you get into like past 3, you kind of like some of these just aren't very good at playing aggro. Like I would say all the 3 color decks can probably play aggro of some kind.
Mm-hmm. They probably have one commander that could do it
like
at
one
least.
or two. Yeah, like even, I'll think of I'll think of one like Bant. Like Bant isn't really an aggressive.
Rafik.
But you have Rafik. Yeah. Like Rafik was
Yeah.
a very classic commander that's known for being aggressive because you just want to have this dude just turn sideways at people and get double strike by himself, and then that's not something that Bant typically does. Bant's usually known for control and like all these little like tricky shenanigans and stuff like that. But Rafik and Arcades are not. Like they are known for especially Arcades is known for being very aggressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I would agree with that sentiment that, you know, out of all the color combinations, there is at least 2 prominent commanders that stick out for taking an aggressive front for every color combination. I mean, I'll bar it down 3 colors or less because the 4 color range gets a little wonky.
The more colors you add, the more color identity doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think really the only aggressive deck I can think of off the top of my head that's like in the 5 color range is probably like Dragon, just because you know exactly what's going on.
Najila.
I'm sorry, Najila. Yeah. Najila is probably like the queen of aggro in my opinion.
I mean,
Only because
she's the gold standard of aggro because she does everything.
she has everything that aggro wants, especially in a 4-person game.
I have proved it time and time again as I continue to scale back Najila further and further, trying to figure out what it takes to make Najila fair.
Yeah. So okay. So now that
the other deck.
So now that we know that every color can play aggro, what are some measures we can take playing against aggro, other than the easy answer of let's run more spot removal? I have a world cover you.
I mean, I was gonna straight up say you're running the removal in the first place. Actually, mulligan for it. Think about
Yeah, it's nice to have some interaction, especially if you know you're going against an aggressive deck.
I'm gonna use Krenko, the couple of Krenko games that we have witnessed from the last couple weeks. Those games straight up would have ended differently if people just said, "There's a Krenko in the pod. It's okay that I don't have that like extra piece of ramp. I have the wrath that just makes sure that the game lasts longer than 5 turns." And that's the case of this isn't a CEDH game where the game is expected to last 5 turns. The only reason why it's lasting 5 turns is no one has the removal. So it's the whole prisoner's dilemma thing. Trust that no one else is gonna mull for the removal and just do it yourself.
I can agree with that. I can't there is a point where I don't want to rely on my friends at the table, unfortunately.
Yeah. Emphasis on unfortunately. Really.
I also don't want to advert. This is just a me thing. I don't like to advertise right away that I can do something about it. Because then
you don't. Yeah, no. You're telegraphing. You're telegraphing your next couple turns.
Well,
you're trying to conceal information.
It's not just that. It's let's say I'm playing in a pod against Steven's Krenko, and I start the game like, all right, don't worry guys, I can deal with Krenko the first time. Two things are gonna happen. First of all, Steven's gonna tunnel me because he wants me to get out of this game before I get a chance to use my removal.
And he's never gonna play the Krenko in the first place.
He's never gonna grab Pickers. So it's actually 3 things. He'll just won't play the Krenko until I use it. 3. Now my other 2 table mates know that I have the answer, so they don't have to use theirs.
Exactly. I was about to comment. There's something to be said for letting your opponents figure something out.
Yeah, you
before-
can let your opponents solve your problems. That's totally fine.
Like on top of that too, because in the end, while Commander is a social game, there is a way to play it so that you achieve victory, and part of that is playing your resources properly and knowing how to play your resources properly. Your resources aren't just what's limited in your hand. Your resources, for lack of better, are also your opponents and what they can do. If your
100%.
opponents are able to, if you can use your opponents, you have used resources that do not cost you a dime, and you've potentially made it appear that you're working with the group as a friend and established a social means for you to further get ahead.
Can I flip the script on you for a second?
Absolutely.
As the defensive player, knowing that a combo player is about to go off, you can also leverage the fact that you have an aggressive player in your pod and have them kill the combo player and protect them to do so.
Absolutely.
If you know that someone is tutored a couple times in a row, they're very clearly doing so with intention. So protect the aggressive player and have them kill the combo player, because if they kill the combo player, then you're not dying too. You at least have a window. You and the other person now have a political window to deal with the aggressive player. You've created a 1v3 and now flipped the script and made a completely different 2v1.
Yeah. So we talked about removal. And then removal is obviously the easiest one you do. I would say like taxation effects are also another way to keep an aggro player in check.
But they are also a way for an aggro player to keep the rest of the table in check.
That's true as well.
It's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street. So there's also the when I say taxation effects, the main ones I'm talking about are like pillow forts, and like light taxes. So when I talk about like pillow forts, for example, like ghostly prison. Ghostly person would keep an aggro player, a go white player in check. So now I have to pay to attack you, and they have to pay a lot to attack you, especially if they want to do a lot of damage. So they have to use their mana, as opposed to expanding their position. They have to use it to attack you specifically.
It's gonna end up funneling everything back into everyone else, but that's also okay. You can just like, oh, I'll just latch onto someone else instead.
The other one is like when I say the light taxation effects, the ones that really come to mind, especially against aggressive players, and because the color white has all the answers in every format. Like blind obedience and authority of the consoles are like really, really good against aggressive decks.
Authority is so good.
Alternatively, I also run them in my aggressive decks because I'm bringing in all of your blocker stats.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, you have with especially blind obedience, you also get that little bit of like extra life gain through extortion,
which no one ever uses. Which I think people need to use more. By the way,
I agree with that. Yeah, that's a lot of extra life. Like that's like 3 life per spell.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's pay 1, gain 3.
Yeah. Just to kind of counter the argument on the authority of the consoles, if we're an aggro player and we're wanting to sort of mitigate that sort of strategy against us, EK I don't think can preach enough about this card, but Throne of the God Pharaoh instantly comes to mind as an
yeah.
aggro deck, where you get around those kind of taxation effects. My creatures come into play tap, so what? Take extra damage.
Well, if they're not coming in attack, then it's just running double duty.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm making 30 goblins with Krenko. I kill one person, and then I kill the rest of the table with the God Pharaoh trigger on my end step. Something ridiculous like that. And it's 2 mana.
It's also like
pretty
$1.
good.
It's really
cheap.
I was about to say, like, monetarily wise, it is so cheap. I think it's like $4.
Oh, is it 4 now? Okay.
Wow. Yeah, it's gone up.
That's a 200% increase from what you just said.
Yeah.
I remember it was $1, but anyways, yeah. Like.
Well, because people have realized how good it is.
Yeah. I also think that for something that good, too, and it's actually fairly cheap, it also shows that a lot of people don't really play aggro in Command.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Straight, pure aggro. It's not really...
I mean, think about the expensive cards, because let's be honest, Commander drives the secondary market at this point. The aggressive cards are the cheapest cards that you can get your hands on. You can make a very, very powerful aggressive deck for a lot cheaper than any of the other archetypes, for the most part.
It is like my Krenko deck is easily my most powerful deck, and it is 4 digits cheaper than my other decks.
For sure. And I've seen decks like Edric Aggro and like Izuri Aggro and stuff like that.
Edric is like dime bulk card tribal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like clarify it. Like like most of the cards that you want to run in that deck literally cost like a dime or a quarter at most.
Yeah, like Tomer, like Tomer from Goldfish, his claim to fame is that deck is like Edric Aggro, and like it was really Edric turns, but
that's where the money is spent. But 80+% of the deck, you could probably build for like $30 minimum, maybe 50 at most.
Yeah. Either way, it's very effective. Also, with the talk on card prices too, I think it kind of brings up that idea of the definition of aggro, right? If people are funding all their money into the more expensive variants of cards to define what they think aggro is, and yet you're able to build something like a Winota deck for $50, an Edric deck for $50 in that area, but those are true in the definition of going wide and fast and tall in aggro deck. Is the perception of what aggro really is in the community diluted? Is the understanding of aggro not really there, right? People are so caught up in this idea that aggro is something so different in Commander than what it just simply is, of going wide or going tall and just doing it fast.
I don't know if you could have set up my point any more on a platter for me, but I really appreciate it. You don't even know what I'm going to say.
I don't.
But I literally, I have a note here that says I have one more point before we move on, and he just teed me up. So I think the best way, so removal, all these things are great, but the best thing you can do is play some aggro. Understand what they're going to be doing on their turns. If you've never played it before, you don't know that they're about to kill you. And trust me, they're about to kill you. Okay? So sleeve up some aggro, borrow a deck from somebody, get in that mind frame. Until I built my Krenko deck, I had no idea that the game was about to always be over. It's too fast.
Sean, you've played against my Saskia deck how many times? And I've been on an empty board, and you're just like, yeah, I have someone dead right here.
5 minimum, and every time someone's dead as soon as that happens.
Yeah. I need 7 mana to kill somebody.
Give or take, yeah, roughly. As soon as you get your triggers off, you know exactly what to fetch, and the game just becomes...
It's not even trick. The last couple times I've played, I haven't even needed Wild Pair to do anything. It's just I have Saskia and Samut. There is a player who is dead here. Who do we think needs to be dead? And then, I'm just okay, yeah. That's a thing that's happening. Right. And I think that boils down to people just don't give it the respect that it deserves. People just think Commander value all the time.
But there's definitely values in 1-for-2s and 2s and 1-for-3s and stuff like that. When you have that kind of stuff, I can't stress that enough. Sometimes the value is not
my point being is when people immediately think value in Commander, they think drawing all of the cards, ramping to 30 mana a turn as fast as possible. They don't think playing Sunbird's Invocation, playing Aurelia, and then getting some 5-drop along with it, something like that. They don't. Mm-hmm. They don't think dare I say proactive value, aggressive value, because like I said at the beginning of the show, aggro and Commander is secretly just mid-range.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that, save for maybe a handful of Commanders, that I can play a deck that isn't just going to inevitably fizzle to a table that actually knows what's going on. There's only so much that I can scam a couple of people before they realize, well, shoot, we have to keep this person in check, otherwise one of us is going to die at any time. there's only so long that facade lasts.
Exactly.
So you need to have a backup plan or a long-term plan. Which is why, I mean, most decks end up turning to those 4, one. I'm not gonna say a do nothing enchantment, but like 2 do nothing enchantments, quote unquote, to try and like get them over the hump, like Wild Pair, Sunbird's Invocation, True Conviction, Fiery Emancipation, that kind of thing.
Looking Predators is an example too, depending on based on your deck, because like that can. It doesn't do to the large and buy effect that a Wild Pair can, but you can easily go from an empty board to a board of a couple thick boys. And
so I would actually put them in the same league. So Wild Pair is like the scalpel of aggro. Mm-hmm. Lurking Predator is like the colossal hammer of aggro if you build the deck properly.
Okay, that's fair.
Like Wild Pair is gonna let me find exactly what I need for the game when I need it.
Yeah, it's like doing surgery with a scalpel versus as opposed to doing surgery with a mallet, basically. It's like one of those is cleaner than the other.
Lurking Predators, I'm just hoping to flip 15-15s and like 8-8s and stuff like that. Wild Pair,
sometimes Yogg-Saron pull for those of you who actually get that reference, pulls you exactly what you need, or something that like puts you in the driver's seat.
But at the end of the day, it's still a net positive. You are creating a 2 for 1 or a 1 for 1 inadvertently. Like my opponent plays a spell, I get an 8/8. My opponent plays a spell, I get a 4/4. My opponent plays a spell, I get a Gisela. Something like that.
So what do you Sorry, go ahead.
No, so what do you want? What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
So I guess the last thing is like just because like we're getting we're kind of coming to the tail end of this conversation. What do you think the future of aggro in the format is?
I think people need to be more accepting of it. Like I said earlier, you have a combo player at the table. They're about to go off. They're on 10 mana. They're they've tutored once, maybe twice. They've drawn a bunch of cards. That the game could end at any point because of their hands. I think people need to give aggro more space, because at the end of the day, the aggro player is going to take out the threat. And I think people need to accept the fact that the aggro player isn't going to take out you. They're going to take out the threat, unless you are the threat. Because they want to keep playing.
I would agree with that. And also, like Swazi said, gaining the understanding of aggro, to really better the future. So you clear up this definition of what aggro really is, and understanding the different mediums that it comes in, because it's not just creature based. Aggro is aggro combo, aggro effects.
I mean,
aggro takes on a wide variety of forms in Commander, and I think, to be honest, while it's been explored, I don't think it's fully been explored. I think there are areas of aggro we have yet to touch in the sets to come.
I think the misconception of what it is in the first place is why it hasn't been explored.
Would absolutely agree. Yeah.
I do have a comment about letting your aggro player kill your combo player. Let me put my combo hat on really quick. Just know that when he does kill the combo player, very regularly, he's now too powerful for you guys to do anything about.
Yeah, there absolutely is a dance. There absolutely is a dance. It basically boils down to, who do you think that you could deal with better? Do you think you can stop a combo player, or do you think you can stop the aggro player? If you can't stop the combo player, let the aggro player kill them, and then kill the aggro player. If you can kill the aggro player, or if the aggro player doesn't matter and you can deal with the combo, and then suppress the aggro player. It all comes down to making those reads. But bigger picture, it actually just boils down to talk more when you play. Talk with the people that you're playing with. Have those discussions. Like, hey, I can't deal with this. Can you?
Yeah, I will say you have those opportunities, especially in any game that's not a C game, because in C there's basically no
if one person's dying, everyone's dying. That's basically my general experience.
One, it wouldn't matter, and two, that's just not how the format works, basically. All right, well, I think that was a really good primer for Aggro and Commander. Thank you for this TED talk there, EK.
Do I need to like put a TEDx logo in the corner in post?
Sure.
Yes.
We'll put it in. We'll put it there in post.
Yeah.
I like it.
Awesome. Oh, I mean, I'm out of closing points on Aggro. EK, do you have any other fine words on Aggro to take us to the end?
I'm just gonna reiterate: it's not what people think it is. Give it the respect that it deserves, because we will kill you. Yeah, try it. You won't respect it until you play it yourself. Like, borrow your friend's deck. You know, when we're able to play safely in person again, you know, show up to your regular Commander night when it starts back up and say,
I bought.
"Hey, I want to borrow your deck."
Friends' decks. They just don't hand it off to me in person. They just put it in my mailbox, kind of.
Yeah, you get the idea. Like, try it for yourself, because you won't respect it to the degree that it deserves until you play it yourself. And even if like you're not the type of person to play it anyway, so you know how to play against it.
100% agreed.
Yep.
Well, friends, takes us to the end here. As always, you can find us on Twitter at DrawForTurn and YouTube at DrawForTurn. We post weekly discussion topics, so drop us a follow, get on the conversation. Check out our YouTube to check out the amazing Commander games that have been happening the last few weeks with all our amazing celebs, and shout outs to them for just being awesome content creators and being fantastic in our games.
Do you want to go down a laundry list of who we've played with recently and who to expect to see on the YouTube channel?
Yep, so Talia Vesta's games are both up. MS Skywards are coming. Radical Mari and ESP for him are coming. MTG Girl is coming, and then we have some other games lined up down the pipeline. I don't know if I want to give spoilers on those yet.
Well, the audio and the video will be out for this tomorrow, so we can spoil the fact that we're playing with Joffer on Friday, who's a streamer who is pushing on partner and is an SCG grinder with some results and a pedigree, which is really awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited for the Jaffer game. He's going to be bringing his Bay Victus, as he dubs it. So, I mean, I can't play Bay Victus, but like, I'm a fan. It's dragons.
I'm going to interrupt you and say there are some special guests in the pipeline that have not been announced. So keep an eye on Twitter and social media in general for
just watch
everything
stream,
cool.
Frankly,
that too. If you're not following either of the streams, follow them.
So going into, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you should follow and listen to EK.
That's
We're all over the place. It's fun.
If you're already following Astral's Flame, you should also follow EK Plays Cards. That's the channel we're on tonight. Because Sean is on vacation and not his normal spot, so it's better for EK to engineer the stream this time. As far as social media plugs, you can follow me on Twitter at DES_AdamN. Shoutouts to Top Deck Games, Westamont, New Jersey, and the comic book store in Glassboro, New Jersey. My two favorite places locally to get cards.
EK, man.
Same place as always, literally everywhere on the internet at EK Plays Cards. Shout out to my local game store, Games Plus. And you see them all on the stream.
Swazi, sir, what about you?
I'm gonna be at Swazo DFT on most platforms. Still Swazo TV on Twitch. Shout out to Cool Stuff Games in Brandon, where I got my Chrome Mox today. And yeah, as soon as things open back up, shout out to Next Ridge Games. Can't think we get an FNM over there.
It's awesome. And as always, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Astos Flame. I do the MTG Arena and Commander game talks and some motivational stuff. Shout out to Harry Tarantula and Next Ridge Games, because EK got me hooked on Bling.
It's not my fault.
No, it's not.
Can't do me like that.
It's your fault.
I'm not. I appreciate you. Well, as always, everyone, remember to untap, upkeep, support your local game store. Check out Next Ridge Games. I think we're gonna have to do something.
I want to add one to our final remark.
Yes.
We say wear your mask. Also, plan your vaccinations if you're allowed to.
Oh yeah,
But
those
most
are.
importantly, that's important, but still continue to wear your masks, please. But most importantly, all together, Draw
Draw
for
for
turn.